Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another of our little project chats, afternoon, midweek chats, when we sort of give it a little bit of that, give it a little bit of that. And of course, today we've got a little bit of joy to spread. We won last night, and we'll be having a little chat about that. There's a few other things we want to talk about as well. I'm on a little bit early, like I always am. It's the 12th of March, 1 week to Paddy's Day. Well, 5 days to Paddy's Day. Woo. It's absolutely mad here on Paddy's Day. Where I live in Spain, Cabarroig, it's a really Irish area, and all my neighbours got places in Ireland that come over here when they don't live over here. Some of them, both sides actually to me, both Irish, and both come over and don't live here. So it's quite nice, really, for me because it means I can play my records loud. Records. It's quite nice for me because I haven't got someone next door to me all the time, and I don't know. I'm a bit antisocial sometimes, so it's just how I am. I can't help it. Right, and we've been on for just over a minute. Let's have a little look, see who's around, see if we've got our usual. No, we've got two people on already, which is nice. Let's just have a quick look at expanding the comments and see if we've got anyone saying anything yet. Not yet, but we will have any second, I'm sure of it. Um, Let us know what you thought about it. Let us know who your man of the match was. Let us know, what you thought of the goal. What was the atmosphere like? What, just generally come and tell me stuff about last night. I'm going to try. Angus is on. Good morning, Angus. How you doing, mate? It's a little bit quiet, but to be honest with you, I did put it on originally at 12:30, uh, and I had a client cancelled uh, this morning, so I thought, you know what, I'll just go on that a little bit earlier because it just helps my day. I've got a busy day today. Thursday's my washing day, and I've got to make my food and all stuff like that. I'm really like it's like a big thing for me every day making my food. It's something I love doing. So let's have a little chin wag about what we think about the game last night. I was quite impressed with Blues last night, to be honest, and I had little chat with my mate Mark Halsey, who is a former Premier League referee. You know the school with Mark. He's a QPR fan. He's the one that sent off Dion Dublin when he nutted Robbie Savage, viciously attacked Robbie Savage, and I'm the one actually that got Mark to send him off. I said to Mark before the game, Mark, if you get a chance to send that Dublin off, send him off, and he did. Thank you, Mark. All the best, mate. Graham Parrish on, how you doing, Gray? Yeah, um, the game last night, yeah. I think it was all over, all round good performance from us. QPR looked a little bit shell shocked at the start, but we did really look like a top possession side. Um, for that first 45, we could probably and should have been three up, hit the post. Keeper saved, made a couple of good saves. We sort of fluffed a few opportunities. Shooting from the edge of the box wasn't particularly good. Um, Osman destroyed them down the left. And the team I picked yesterday actually was more or less the team that played. I did pick Prisco up front with Stansfield behind him, and I did pick Laird on the right with Wagner on the left. But obviously those two injuries meant that couldn't happen. But I did go with the Roberts on the right and Osman on the left for the reason I said yesterday. Because against QPR, you want a winger that will cut in and a winger that will go round them. They did look totally shell shocked by us in the first half. The keeper was all over the place as well early on. The back four, I mean, Cook was the outstanding defender for them, but he always is, and he scored against us, of course, at Loftus Road, whatever it's called now. And he did have a good game yesterday, but really we should have done more than we did. But I'm not going to make this a complaining chit chat today because we're on, we're back on course to try and get ourselves as close to that sixth position as we can. Results went well for us this week. We're 5 points behind Wrexham. We've got to play them at St Andrews in April. All in all, it's back on. I think we're not a million miles away. Um, I was, yeah. So I was talking. Oh yeah, I was talking to Mark Halsey. So Mark said, basically, he said he was embarrassed with QPR at half time. He said we absolutely murdered them. We should have been 3 up, and he's absolutely right, of course. But obviously, second half was different. I think, like I was just talking about Roberts, he like as a wide player, he cuts in a lot more than Vicente. Vicente tends to go around the outside. Um, but Paddy Roberts likes to cut in, and I think that made a big difference. And of course, that's how he scored his goal. By cutting in, he didn't go on the outside. He came on the inside, hit the shot from the edge of the box. Nice goal. But then I think we're happening in the second half. We did let QPR get a foothold in it. But I think what happens, and you can't help it. I mean, it just happens. Is that when you goal up like that, and you come out in the second half, you got 45 to go. You do tend to just sit that little bit deeper, and I think that's what happened yesterday. Definitely, we went deeper, and then the Vicente for Roberts move, happened really when we had started to defend a bit more, and Vicente isn't the right winger you want on when you're defending. Roberts probably would have been better because he comes inside a little bit more. So, I think Vicente, he was fine, but wasn't his normal sparkling self, because I don't think we were in that mode then where we were going to take the game further towards them. Dan Garvey's on. How you doing, mate? So, I think there was a mixture of him coming on at the wrong time, really, because when we went a little bit defensive. I've got to say about that young lad that was commentating last night on the Blues group. His name was Ethan, and I just got to say what an absolutely brilliant job he did. I'm absolutely delighted with it. I thought it was fantastic, and I want to get him on to our Sunday morning show. So I'm going to put this out there now. If anyone knows him or can get hold of him for us, we want to get him on with us on Sunday. I thought he was brilliant, and he's a young autistic lad, and I know quite a few people with autism, and he's very typical of someone who's a bit autistic. He's sort of in depth, and he's very intense, and he was great, and he did his work on QPR. It's always good when you come on to do this sort of thing that you know about the opposition players, and he certainly did. Bloody hell, he did. But I was really disappointed with some of our supporters. There was just some really horrible comments that, which I wouldn't. I just don't know where it comes from with some people. I really don't. You've got a young 14-year-old autistic lad who was living his dream last night. He won a competition, I believe, to do the commentary at Blues, or he wanted to become a commentator, and Blues made it possible for him, something along those lines. And you have to get these clever, I don't really know what to say about them. There's one geezer, I believe his name was something Rainbird or something. If you've got something, if you're watching now, come and tell me about what you said or what you think, what your thoughts were. Or, you can come on, message me directly. I'd love to know what made you make comments, sort of comments that you made. There are a few others as well. BCFC's own Facebook page is like one of the most toxic you're ever going to see. And it just isn't, unfortunately, it just isn't moderated. And we've been onto the club, personally been onto them twice about it, and basically nothing's going to change. They just you can say whatever you want on there. He was just absolutely awful. Lee Harvey's on. How you doing, Lee? Nice to see you on, mate. We didn't see you yesterday, but and so we only had about 50, 60 comments. So everyone reckoned the other 40 were yours that were missing. So yeah, I'd like to just say to Ethan that, Ethan, don't take any notice, mate, of anyone that gives you a little bit of shit about what you do, or you did a really, really good job yesterday. I thought it was absolutely fantastic, and me and our moderation team were all talking about it afterwards to say what a brilliant job you'd done. So what we'd like to do is we'd like to invite you onto our Sunday morning show. Come and say hello to us. Come and spend half an hour talking about the Blues and tell us a little bit about yourself, and that would be absolutely brilliant. So if anyone's got a contact for him or can get in touch with us, that would be brilliant. I'll try and contact the club later, if no one knows him. Lee's telling me I'm rocking another nice top. Actually, it's a bit big. I don't like it. I love this shirt. Listen, I love this badge. This badge here is the original, Birmingham City coat of arms, which I believe we had to stop using because some jealous little twats down the road didn't like it. So we have another badge now. In fact, we have this badge. We have this badge. Sorry, and we have the I ain't got it on ball and globe badge. So all three of our badges I really love. The coat of arms probably like the original one and probably like the best in a way. The young lad commentating was brilliant, bless him. This is Lee Harvey saying this, and I think the majority of our supporters were absolutely delighted with him, and he did. He did sort of take over a little bit at times, but so what? He was great. I loved him. I did. But anyway, back to the game. Lovely to see us functioning well. And I'll tell you what I think now. I think we've got what we haven't had all season, and I'm hoping we've got it now for the last 10 games, and that is hang on a minute, Tina's on. Tina, don't... Listen, if Tina starts winding you up, don't blame me, alright? She did a great job last week on someone. How are you, Tina? I hope you're alright, love. Steve Daniels is there. How you doing, Steve? So, that central defensive partnership yesterday of Clara and Robinson is what we've lacked all season. It looked relaxed. They looked proper. Clara, was back to his best defensive self, and he could relax with Robinson alongside him. I mean, how good did Jack Robinson look last night? He looked really, really good. And Ethan and Iwata at fullbacks. Well, I'm thinking Ethan Laird's going to go back to right back as soon as we get that left back. As soon as we get Wagner back in the left back position. So that back four for me is our best back four. Tina's having a bit of a laugh there. Look, Richard's saying, did Ethan do commentary on the game, and can it be watched somewhere? Well, it was on the Blues, the Blues live feed. So I'm sure it will be recorded somewhere. But Ethan did really, really well, yeah. And it was a Lee saying there, it was a well-needed victory, and it was. Scott Harrison's there, Clara, the brick wall. He was solid last night, and we had Kone actually, and it's what I thought would happen, and I did say it. When you've got Pake and Solly's playing the way they did last night, Kone had the ball took off him a lot of times. I thought John Solly's last night was great, and Pake. Both of them together are absolutely wonderful players, and we have to be a little bit patient with them. I know that Solly sometimes can lose the ball, but look what he did last night. Look how much he broke down play. Tina's come on again and said, I've been scared to come on for a few days. No, we missed you. We love that sort of interaction, Tina. Scott saying Clara the brick wall. Yeah, we just mentioned that. Yeah, it only was a brick wall. I think Ethan Laird as well going forward. When we've got Ethan back on the right and we've got Wagner on the left, we're going to be such a force down both sides. Steve Dennis saying Clara and Robbo at centre back and Laird and Wagner at full backs. Yeah, Solis and Pike, DCM. And you're absolutely right there, mate, because that to me, those 6 players there can be a real foundation for the side. The only thing that didn't work last night, and I think it's something that it's for the managers to sort out, is how patient is Chris Davis going to be with Marvin Dux, because I think last night again, and what happens is it affects his it affects it affects Jay Stansfield's game, and it's happened before. I've mentioned it before, and this isn't a go at Dux. He scored 6 goals, but you know he had a couple of like half chances last night from the edge of the box where he's usually very good from that area, but he just sort of wasn't last night. You know, sorry, I'm just messing with me, getting something up here for us. But he wasn't last night. He didn't look composed when he had the ball. I was just a little bit disappointed with him, and what happens there is that Stansfield has to come back to basically cover the 10 position himself as well, and he had to do it again last night. So I think this is time for Chris Davis to have a think about what we're going to do there. Interestingly enough, we got Steve Daniels coming on. So, what's your thoughts on Kyogo? Well, I honestly think I was thinking about today, and I looked when he came on last night, and I think I mean I think Sean put a team up earlier, and he had like Kyogo playing behind Stansfield. I mean that you know Kyogo can't play at 10, but Stansfield can. So I there would be nothing wrong for me to try Kyogo in front of Stansfield if we're not if the big man isn't needed. So it wouldn't hurt to bring Kyogo on. You could even start with him in that top role, dependent who we're playing against. If we're playing against a big team, sometimes probably you know a little man works, big man works as well. So I think this is now where we see the size of our squad now, the options it gives us. So if we're playing against a team like, for instance, like Charlton, Priska is probably the best one to play up against them with 3 big centre backs, because you know he's strong and we gives us the option of the long ball. It didn't work out well for us, obviously it didn't, but Priska would be my man for that one. But last night, you know, on reflection, and it's easy to do this after the game with hindsight, but it probably might have worked better last night, particularly in the first 40 minutes, to have Kyogo up top with Stansfield behind him, and you've got Osman on the left, and you've got Paddy on the right. I think the additional press that you get from Kyogo would have frightened the goalkeeper to death last night, and I think that game last night was made for him. But now, I'm saying that now with hindsight. I didn't, you know, none of us know how Marvin Dux is going to play, which is one of Marvin's problems. He's not consistent enough. You know, the Marvin Dux that we know can score a goal, that we can know can fashion some lovely passes, just wasn't, he wasn't playing last night. So, yeah, I don't know what your thoughts are on it, Steve. Yeah, I think everyone sort of thought Kyogo, you know, he's gone for good. I thought that, and I think I might have even said it yesterday. You know, I think it's going to be hard for him to wear a shirt again. But with hindsight, he would have terrorised that QPR defence last night. And I think the other thing I've got to say, because I've been critical of him as well, is I thought Kanya Fujimoto played when he came on. He showed that he had some quality, and it's the first time I've seen that from him. And so Kanya, you know, could he be looking for the number 10 in the future? We've got 9 games now, I believe, 27 points, and if we get this set up right now, I think we've still got a chance. We've got that back four that looks absolutely solid. We've got 2 good goalkeepers, and to me, you can take your choice. You know, Beadle didn't put a foot wrong last night. I heard some people apparently were screaming at him when someone passed the ball back to him, you know, but I mean, it's an absolute joke, that is. It's just like the same thing, you know, like bullying the young lad who's autistic. It's the same sort of thing. So, and like we just said there, I think it was Steve that just said it, you know, and then we've got Solis and Pake in front of that back four. you know what an absolutely brilliant foundation that is, and then we can play, and then around it, you know, you've got Dimmy, you've got Osman, you've got Vicente, you've got Paddy Roberts, you've got Ducks, you've got Kyogo, you've got um, Priska. So pick three out of those. I mean, really, we're in a really strong position if we just look at it now, calmly look at what we think about the opposition. Chris Davis is brilliant at opposition, at working out the opposition. Let's see what we think of the opposition, and let's play to beat the teams that we're playing. Steve Daniels is saying, I put a post up earlier about the impact of Kyogo. I think he's a weapon. Well, I've heard people call a weapon before, mate, but not for that reason. I think he's a weapon we have to use clever. I don't think he suits a low block team, but if we are one up and the game opens up, you have to put him on because he's on the shoulder. Yeah, I think it's not just if we one up. I think, you know, if we one down and we're playing deep, and I mean the goal he scored, I forget who he scored it against. The one goal he has scored. Oh, where was it? It wasn't Preston, was it? Where did he score his goal? So anyway, but whatever, it weren't Preston. But you know, that was hit on the run. That was a long ball for him to. Well, he took it off the centre half's foot, didn't he? You know, and off he went. That's when, and we were deep at the time, so that was brilliant. Sean saying, just got to go all out attack now, Steve, shit or bust. Yeah, I agree, but you've got to be sensible with it, Sean, because you can lose the ball up front there and it can cost you a goal. I know that sounds stupid, but you know, Jay Stansfield's a very, very capable number 10 and he can score goals. And if you had someone like Kyogo in front of him, yeah. If he's got someone like Priska in front of him, yeah. But then, you know, if Dux is behind him, behind Stansfield and Stansfield up top, yeah. But providing Marvin Dux turns up, that's the big thing. That's the big issue that I have. Tina is saying, I think a lot of fans have become really negative lately. They really have, you know. We won last night and still so many negative comments. I know it absolutely does, really, Tina. Imagine, you know, like our moderators have to sit and read all those comments. And particularly like the ones about that young lad or the non-stop ones about Beadle. What's people's problem with him? Beadle doesn't pick himself. Chris Davis picks him. And you know who picks Chris Davis? Tom Wagner. Someone put a post on, I think it was in our group this morning, put a post on saying, you know, Davis got out of jail last night with those 3 points. You know, the management are obviously on his back. You know, then are they? They're 100% behind him. Does anyone ever listen to what Tom Wagner says or what the club says? Did you see what the club put out for his 100th game? You only have to listen to it. You know, this isn't a manager that's about to be sacked. Yeah, sorry. Tina, look at me, I'm getting my blood pressure up again. Shaw Baldock, just got to go at all attack. Yeah, Steve Daniels, Sheffield Wednesday it was, yeah. Sheffield Wednesday. And John Barker saying Cambridge away. That was the cup game, wasn't it? Steve Daniels. Yeah, no, you're right. It was Cambridge. It was, yeah. I'm sorry. No, was it? I thought he'd scored a league goal. Because he scored against Sheffield United, didn't he, in the cup? Oh, that's right. Yeah, he scored in the FA Cup and the League Cup. You're right. Cambridge, it was, yeah. Daniel Garvey's coming on 2 big games to break, Sheffield United at home and Derby away. I think we'll know by then if we... Yeah, definitely, I agree with you there, Dan. If we win both those games, which, listen, I don't want to be saying that at the moment, but I'm going to say it. If we win both those games, we're going to be sitting in a really pretty position. 6 more points. Wrexham only have to lose a game, and it puts us right there with them, doesn't it? There's so many things that can still happen this season, and I know, like, we're down to 9 now. Then we're going to get a little bit. Dan, did he score in the? Did I know he scored against Sheffield United? Dan, Kyogo did in the League Cup. But I thought he'd scored a league goal, so what was the Cambridge game? Anyway, it doesn't matter. Um, yeah, so it's just going to take some application from the players. They have to be told now that they have this opportunity. They have to go for it. Chris has to be right, right on it as well. We can't be taking any risks with selections. We've got to be defence first. For me, we can't afford to give stupid goals away anymore. Steve Daniels saying, what was that goal Kyogo scored when he sneaked it in off a tight angle? Did I dream that? No, I think that was Sheffield United. The goal he scored that I'm thinking about is the one where the ball was going to centre half and he just literally ran in and took it off his toe, went the length of the pitch and scored. Dave Pegg, it's a 5-year project. Do we want 4 or 5 managers in that time? No, of course we don't. And United don't want that either, Dave. I'm sure of that. Daniel Garvey, 92nd minute. Okay, yeah. Tina Baker, I don't think I should comment anymore in case I make you poorly. I don't comment often in other groups because people still have the mindset of women. I know, but that doesn't apply to us, Tina, because we don't have that mindset about our female members. We have actually got the website's been the website is actually been put back a little bit. It's under construction. If you go onto our website, you'll see it says at the moment under construction. What happened was our website designer, his son was quite poorly, and we lost a week. So we should be back on that this week, and I'm going to have a chat with Beck later to make sure everything's ready to go for us. And I think that's going to be, I think it's going to add a whole new dimension to our group. We have got a ladies project coming up that I'm really looking forward to doing, and the girls are, and everyone is. So just wait and see, Tina, you're going to love it. Steve Daniels, so to keep going about it, but yeah, Kyogo did score against Sheffield Wednesday in the 90th minute. Yeah, I can remember the goal. It's in my mind's eye, but I can't remember who it was against. Tina saying, I know, I love your group, as you don't take any crap from anyone. We don't, and it's like, I've been called by people that we've removed from the group. I've been called by aggressive by a lot of people. I'm not aggressive. If I come across sometimes as aggressive in response to some posts, it isn't me being aggressive, it's me being defensive. And being wary, because we've been stung too many times. People take the piss and we don't want it. And if I've ever upset you with a comment that I've made, you can take it from me that if you're still in the group, I understand that it wasn't meant in a bad way. But honestly, sometimes you really don't know what it's like. I mean, we were all so relieved last night that we won, not just because we love Blues, but because it means that we didn't have an absolute nightmare of a night and an awful day today. And that might sound a little bit over dramatic, but it's the truth. Kyogo scored 2 in 3 games. League Cup v Cambridge, 42nd minute away at Sheffield Wednesday. He did score against Sheffield United, didn't he, earlier in the season? I'm sure he did. Yeah, Dan, I don't think the fact that he hasn't been picked since that game is anything really to sort of... I don't know if you mean that in a critical way or not, but I don't, I honestly wouldn't have picked him because he did miss so many opportunities. But then when you get the quality of player that we got now around him, then I think it would be different. Steve saying, me and my dad were having a beer at half time in the ground last night talking about you. He says he enjoys your group, and we were laughing how you just tell people to fuck off and leave it if they don't like it. Yeah, it's not... Steve, I don't... Yeah, that sounds a bit harsh, because it isn't like, they say something, I go, if you don't like it, fuck off, because they could be saying something that is reasonable and that we need to take notice of, and if someone says that, we do. Like people have been complaining all day about the comments about the autistic lad last night. I wouldn't say to you, well, if you don't like it, fuck off, course I wouldn't. You know, we are 100% behind you and we stick up for it. But I know what you're saying, Steve. And say hello to your dad for me, mate. Um, Tom Birmingham, better performance. Robinson, outstanding, proper leader. Definitely, Tom. I was saying this yesterday, you know, and I'm glad everyone is getting on board with it because he did have a nightmare start, but you know, we have to put things behind us sometimes. Andrew has got a goal. Hang on a minute. Goal difference could be our downfall this season. Yeah, there's nothing we can do about that other than score a load of goals. So let's just hope we score goals. That's the thing, obviously. Steve Danny's saying not quite as harsh as that, but you know, I do know what you mean, Steve. Tina Baker saying I saw a lovely photo of Chris hugging. Yeah, wasn't that a nice photo? And it does mean that I can tell you, I know how Chris Davis feels about Birmingham City. He absolutely loves the club, you know. Take it from me, he does. And when he sees that shit, although he doesn't go on social media, you can't avoid it. It upsets him, it upsets the family. It isn't nice. It really is bad. And when your family are upset about things, you know, it isn't nice at all. And I know, you know, he's a football manager and it happens, and I know he earns a lot of money in that, but it doesn't give anyone the right to do that to him. And Chris, and I know that like Chris absolutely loves Jack Robinson because of his presence around the dressing room. It's a bit like Ethan Laird. Different, you know, Ethan Laird's just the joker and that lovely bright lad. Jack Robinson's older, he puts his arm around people, he understands, you know, he helps. And you can see him, I can see him having some sort of coaching role at Blues going forward because he's such, you know, he's such a good player. I mean, we never used his throw last night, but of course we've always got that. Dan Garvey's saying Sheffield United was second game of the season in the League Cup after 5 minutes. Yeah, that's it. Dave Pegg, Steve has called me a few things over the past few months, but I still join in. It's always done in jest. It is, you know. Sometimes I say stuff when it isn't in jest, not to you, Dave. You know, when I can be a little bit brutal sometimes when people say stuff that's ridiculous, offensive, or abusive. We're not going to have that, you know. The club know the stance we make, and the club have always supported us in terms of being an independent. Although they don't do stuff with us that I do with an OSC, they know where we come from, and they know where our heart is. And I've had a really good relationship with Jeremy Dale, really, you know, on and off. We've had our ups and downs, but I think he's a really good CEO, in my opinion. Dave Pegg said, I think Robinson is a new Duke. Yeah, I can see that. He sort of could be that, couldn't he, around the club, Dave. Graham Busby, I just wish they could finish the team off by. Great, you know, I think we all felt like that, but we did have some bad luck last night. We hit the post. Keeper made a couple of really good saves, and we just didn't have our shooting boots on last night. So yeah, I agree with you. Great, it would be nice, mate. Yeah, Ian Platt just joined. Kyogo scored a great goal against Sheffield Wednesday towards the end of the game. Their defender passed it back to the keeper. Kyogo was like a whippet and nicked it from the keeper. He actually, what it was, Ian, was the ball went back to their centre half who had the keeper behind him, and Kyogo just pressed, ran in, took the ball off the centre half's toe. Away he went, and he had the keeper to beat. And when he was approaching the keeper, I remember thinking, oh, I know what's going to happen, because he'd missed so many one-on-ones. But he finished that one beautifully, didn't he? Lee Harvey, you only have to watch the interview with Tommy and Chris Davis to see how he definitely cares. He does, you know. There's absolutely no doubt about that. Brian Rumbold's here. How you doing, Bryce? Dano can't be faulted for his work rate. He does not stop running his work rate. Can't be measured, faulted, and however his goals have dried up. Without his pens, not a good return. We need a goal scorer. We have a goal scorer, unfortunately. But like I was saying earlier, Brian, right, two things here, right? We can't sign a goal scorer now. If that's obviously we can't. There's no way we can bring players in now, unless Mitrovic is out of contract, of course. But like Stansfield was playing up top last night, but you wouldn't have thought it because you'd have to come back and do the number 10 role because Marvin Ducks just sort of went missing again. And this really isn't like a hate rant about Marvin Ducks because he's a really good footballer, but he has to, he has to understand that in the English Championship you can't be a passenger like you can in some German teams. It's just how it is. We can't afford to not have one striker or to have someone that just wants to, showboat. You can't. We can't have that. Jimmy Rafter still think if we go up with present squad and situation with Tom Wagner, we'd struggle. I don't know what you mean in the situation with Tom Wagner. I don't know what that means, Jimmy. We'd struggle with his team in the Premier League. Absolutely. We go up, we buy. There's probably, I don't know, and we'll talk about this another day. There's probably 4 or 5 players in that team that could probably grace the Premier League. We have also got, of course, Patrick Doyle, who's missing. Patrick Doyle. We've got Tommy Doyle, who's missing at the moment, and he's a nice little playmaker when you play the right team. Not for last night. Solis, and Pake in that defensive midfield partnership looked like iron, don't they? I just love John Solis the way he's like that sort of championship version of Patrick Vieira. He puts his leg out, he gets the ball, he picks it up, he lays it off. Sometimes he doesn't knock it off quickly enough. He's passing. If his passing range of passing was a bit better, it would be even better. But he's still young. He's a really young player, and I really think that this guy is going to be some player. I really do. So glad we have him. Graham Parrish is saying 200 million if we go up. Yeah, I thought it was like 160 million or something. I don't know. You might be right, Graham. I don't know. I honestly don't follow Premiership football because we're in the Championship. It was all a little bit subdued yesterday on here. Someone said that the comments weren't so many because Lee wasn't on, and it's one reason. But I think everyone was under a little bit of a cloud, weren't they? If we'd lost yesterday, it would have been a nightmare. Keep right on with 22 points and 39 goals beyond the top team in this league. We will still need massive investment to gain the closest. Of course we will. So will Coventry. So would Middlesbrough. Coventry are a mile away from a Premiership team. They really are. But it's like I said yesterday, and I've said it all along, this is a really poor Championship. So any team that wins this league, don't think that you're going to the Premier League and the competition is going to be like it is this season because it's a million miles away. So any of those teams in that top, probably with the exception of Ipswich, would have to massively spend. Probably just Ipswich. That's my thought without looking at it in depth. Tina's saying that wouldn't it be amazing if we made the playoffs? You can't believe you have tea breaks. But it's not a tea break. I'll tell you what this is. I was laughing about this a couple of weeks ago. I like my coffee. I don't drink tea, it's coffee. And I have this like almond barista milk in it, which is really, really nice. I've like dropped a bit of, like I train quite a lot, and I've just wanted to lose a little bit of body fat recently. I've changed my eating habits a little bit, and I've stopped dairy products. I just want to lose a little bit of fat, so I've stopped dairy products. I've cut out a lot of the bulky carbs, although I do loads of like CV. So like I've changed a lot of my eating habits and drinking habits, but this, I love coffee, see, so, but this actual barista milk is lovely. It's plant-based, it's almond in it, so, it is really, really nice. Do you have tea break, Tina, or or do you just like whiskey break, is it, or something? I imagine Tina with a pint of Guinness, actually, for some reason, I don't know why. Steve Donnelly saying keep right on. How you doing, son? I hope you're all right. Yeah. Strangely enough, I wore that Belgian flag blues penguin yesterday, which was a gift to me, which I absolutely love that shirt. Um, and I was just when I was getting changed before I came on today, I came straight from work, just been shopping, got done, so I get changed quick, like come on, and so it was either this, which I haven't worn for ages, or I've got, and because Real Madrid won last night, didn't they? You know, they beat Man City 3-0. I was going to put my Jude Bellingham Real Madrid second shirt on, second team shirt, but I decided against it. I thought today, because we've just won and we hopefully are going to return to the Premier League fairly soon. Were you watching the Derby game? No. Where you're watching the Derby game? Um, I'm not sure yet. I don't know yet. Um, it depends. Mmm, almond goodness. I'm a bit of a hippie, and I really, sort of. Bill Tucker, we have no chance if we went up this year. Next year we better stay. Bill, we wouldn't have any chance with the team we have at the moment. But if we go up, I'm absolutely certain Tom Wagner's going to, well, we know he is, isn't he? You know, that money's going to be there. Bill, it's nice to hear from you, mate. Say hello to Sherry for me. Bill's an old mate of mine from the Green, not Winton Green, from the Green. And we used to have a little drink in New York, didn't we, Bill? And one or two other places. Went to a few Northern Soul things with him in Moseley. Them were the days, weren't they? Yeah, so someone made a comment about Tom Wagner earlier. Now, I don't know if this is someone thinking that Tom Wagner in some way is going to be like, his illness is going to be an issue for us going forward, because I can promise you it isn't. It isn't at all. Knighthead is a multi-billion-dollar company. They are not. They're not managed by one person, so don't worry about that. Tina's saying, "Good for you. I don't really drink alcohol. To be fair, you need a coffee break, having to chat for an hour. I know it's really good for you that you do these groups. It is good. You know what though? It is good for you. It's like therapeutic in a way, but it's also like I have a little bit of mental illness, and a lot of people probably suss that out because no, but I mean on a serious note, I do, and one of the reasons I started this group was because of that. I had you do a lot of, and I still do it with comments and that. You know, you do a lot of overthinking, and you do a lot of, you get anxiety because you get angry. You've seen me get my blood pressure and that. And one of the reasons I started this group was because of that. And as you probably know, we're also, a charity as well. So both myself, Emma, Rebecca, we all have done mental health qualifications of one sort or another, and we're working with the National Lottery in giving people support. People at suicide risk, or people who suffer from any kind of poor mental health. We're there for them. And the thing with the ladies thing is, we want to make everyone aware of women, and what an amazing part they play in our society and in our club and in our lives. Everyone, we're all equal. And listen, I haven't got one male client, and that's the gospel truth. All of my clients are females, so I'm aware of like menopause, perimenopause, postmenopause. All of the issues, childbirth, contraception, having a having a husband that's a pain in the arse, all those things. And I just thought it was about time that as a group we did something a little bit more positive for women. Lee Harvey saying the players we have are for this league. Yeah, they are, mate. They are for this. They are, yeah. Jimmy Rafter saying, keep the faith, I think, mate, that is it? I try to work it out sometimes, like what these acronyms mean. Look, here's Beck, and we just talked about you, Beck, actually. Yeah, Tina, if you, I don't know if you do any sort of training or anything like that, or, but we've got a little group that I run called Ladies That Lift. So it's about girls that like I work with, just normal women, age up to 60 something that do some fairly hefty weight training, deadlifting and squatting and that. But also, it's a nice little social group as well, where you support each other and help each other. It's quite nice. You're more than welcome to join it if you want. How you doing, Becky? You all right, love? I was just telling everyone how nice it was last night to sort of have a night off, wasn't it? Because had we lost last night, oh God, we're just so glad that it didn't happen. Um, yeah, so Beck's on her tea break now, I think. Tina's just asking me if I had tea breaks. I said, yeah. I think Beck's probably on her lunch break now, aren't you, Beck? Is it about half? Yeah, something like that. We've been on 45 minutes. Things are going well. We've got a nice little group of people today. Um, so yeah, it was really really good last night. And I think if you wanted to, and don't some people have, take it from me. If you wanted to complain about us last night, you could say that we didn't finish them off when we had our foot on their throat, And for me, that would have been, I think, it's never going to happen because managers don't think the way we think, except for Barry Fry, bring 4 subs on, yeah, bring 4 subs on, you know. But like the way fans think, we're more reactionary, than we are about thinking about stuff. So, but had we bought after 40 minutes, 35 minutes Vicente on, uh, I think we would have destroyed them, or even Kyogo, because it's funny how you can look at. I think everyone's got to be able to change the way they think. So prior to yesterday, I would have thought Kyogo and Kanya probably never wear the shirt again. But after watching the QPR game last night, and after watching the way we were and the way we were up front, I wasn't happy with the way we were up front. I've already said that, like I said, I think Marvin Ducks just went missing last night. And he is a really, really good quality footballer, but he just has a habit of just going missing. And we can't afford to have that. Imagine last night, just for instance, just for a minute, if Kyogo had started up top with Stansfield behind him, that QPR defence would have absolutely shat itself, wouldn't it? I mean, the way Kyogo presses, imagine Kyogo and Stansfield pressing that defence last night for the first half hour. I know we scored. I know we could have scored more, but I think we would have absolutely destroyed them. And that keeper there, what was his name? Can't remember his name. But that keeper, he scores another goal. He concedes another goal quickly after that first one. He looked a little bit all over the place to start with. As the game went on, he got better. But I think he would have panicked it. I think it would have been game over by half time. But anyway, hindsight's a wonderful thing. But never be, never be worried or too proud to say you were wrong or or think you can change it. Because like I said earlier as well, I thought Kanya played on and came on and gave a good account to himself. So those two things there that I wouldn't have said prior to yesterday. But it's a day after now, and I've seen a few different things, and I'm really, and that's great for us because it means it's another 2 options, isn't it? And we've got such a big, talented squad. Sheffield United lost last night as well, so they're going to come into this game on Saturday on the back of a defeat. Yeah, I don't know. What does everyone think? Out of 10 being really, really good chance. What do you think our chance of reaching the playoffs are? I'm going to say it's 3. Let me know what you think. Let's see how we're doing on the... Well, we've still got 30 odd comments left. We've still got 15 minutes, 20 minutes. So yeah, it's nice to have one of these that's a little bit more chilled. Beck, while you're on, we was just talking earlier about Ethan and his amazing commentary last night, and I want us to get hold of him so we can get him onto the Sunday morning show. I think it would be brilliant. So we'll have to have a little chat about that later to see if we can get hold of him. I think someone put a couple of names into the group that work for the foundation. So I think if we get him through the foundation and get him on Sunday morning, that would be brilliant. Lee saying, agrees Steve, could have done with Kyogo style player last game um, and yesterday for all the slagging he got. Yeah. Beck saying she thinks Southampton will nick the sixth place. Obviously, that's very possible. Um, I don't know. It's a funny thing with Kyogo because everyone loved him. Everyone complained about him. Everyone loved him again. Then we got to play him. We got to play him. We got to play him. When he scores, he's going to score 100 goals. Then he scores. Then he doesn't get back in the team. Then everyone's saying how shit he is. And then now, just over the last week or two, people are starting to like bring Kyogo in. It's funny how of course you've got the right to change your mind. It's just interesting to see how it happens sometimes. Um, so yeah, I think Kyogo definitely got a chance there. David Pegg, 100 ml of almond milk only contains 1 gram of fat. There you go. Well, something else I have actually, Dave, and I've been in the fitness industry for many years. Yeah, I did a National Academy of Sports Medicine, um, rehabilitation, uh, qualification, and the National Association of Sports, um, Sports, National Academy of National Association of Sports, National Association of Sports Academy, National Association of Sports Medicine. Qualification in movement and dynamics and all those sort of things, and so like I'm pretty clued up on these things, and having this like almond milk with one gram of fat is good. But something else that I've started doing, and I've never ever done it before, for all my years in the industry, I've never had a protein shake. I've always believed in getting protein from its source. It's like you ask someone, where do you get olive oil from, and they'll say Tesco's. Oh, you get it from an olive. So if you eat olive, you don't need to take olive oil. So I would always do that. But now I've got a bit older as well, I think it probably getting another source of protein is quite good. Anyway, I could talk about that for ages. But anyway, Dave, you're right, mate. Richard Lawton is asking Beck why it can't be us. Tina thinks 6 out of 10. All right, Tina. That's brilliant. It's good that everyone's a little bit confident about it. Lee's saying he's a clever player. It's just his finishing. Yeah, he gets into some good positions. His finishing has been poor, which is surprising because he scored so many goals for Celtic. It does surprise me that he hasn't finished better. He only has to score 3 or 4 of those, and we're in the playoffs, And but it might not be too late for him. Wouldn't it be an amazing story? Like when we're doing the Netflix one on this season, next season when we've won the playoffs, and that story of like all the fans getting onto the backs and Kyogo and get rid of Chris Davis and Beagles a donkey and all this business, all that nasty stuff, and then suddenly, we get to the final. Kyogo scores a last-minute equaliser, and Beadle saves a penalty that gets us into the Premier League. It would be a little bit poetic, wouldn't it? Really. Anyway, yeah, you can dream, can't you? Yeah. So we call it to 55 minutes, and everyone's good. We're getting a few more little comments in now. Lee's been a bit quiet today, actually, so the comments are still only 70 odd. It was funny because I was telling someone that you can't, Meta turn you off after 100 comments. I think Tina was there, weren't you, on Monday? It's the one, not the one you was having a go at, but and the guy that comes on, I said, yeah, it was him. Like, he's the one that wouldn't believe me. And it got to 100, it got 103, 105, and it didn't get turned off. I was like, first time ever. Dave Pegg, as I said yesterday, I can only see Ipswich beating us. Yeah, but Ipswich got done last. Did they lose last night? They draw, or did they draw on Tuesday against Stoke? I think 3-3. They're a good side, Ipswich. They are, but we should have beaten them at St Andrews. They got that penalty. It was never a penalty, Lyndon Dykes, but but they are a good team. They're one of the better teams in this division. But if you look at actually quality of players, you know, Ipswich, ourselves. Um, I mean, I want to say Coventry, but I don't want to say Coventry. I think Middlesbrough got some good players. Wrexham have some good players, but he plays them wrong, in my opinion. Um, there isn't that much quality in the division. I was watching the whole game the other night against Wrexham, and Wrexham have got some good players, but they just play like a really boring style of football. You know, they're five at the back, wing backs. You know, it's just awful to watch. Um, but then like Hall were much better on the break, and they looked a really tidy side at times. Tina, why can you only do 100 comments? I don't know. I think it's the amount of traffic. Meta just stop it. We have been. I remember one day we got to about 120 before they stopped it. But usually, if it's like a fairly quiet, you know, the comments aren't bang 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 bang. When it gets to 100, it will stop. But it just depends. Yeah, Facebook. Yeah, Facebook turns them off. I don't mean we turn them off, Tina. Facebook turns it off. And what will happen sometimes then later on, uh, if I'm looking at the post later, they'll turn them back on again when we stop the live broadcast. David Garvey's saying realistically maybe two tough away games to come: Derby, Ipswich, Hull, and final dressing up at Portsmouth. Yeah. Uh, I don't know, Dave. I honestly can't answer that about 100 an hour. I don't know. Um, but to be honest, like 100 is usually all right for us because it's about an hour and 10 minutes. So we get about two, you know, two comments a minute, I guess. Um, they are tough away games. Those games: Derby, Ipswich, Hull. Um, But you know what I mean. If you want to get in the Premier League, those are games you got to win. The thing is, it isn't in our hands; it's in other people's hands. So any of the teams above us at the moment, if they win all their games, they finish above us. You know. But I think if we can get with 9 games left, 9 games left, if we get 20 points, we're in the playoffs. So just over 2 points a game. So we can afford to lose games, but we don't want to, you know. So obviously, the more games we win, the more points we get. But I think like 2.1 points per game, something like that, and we'll get in the playoffs. I think 72 will do it because no one is um, uh, no one he holds the form that well. What's the word I'm looking for? Consistent enough. Andrew Williamson, I think sixth spot will be decided on the last game. So how many teams will be involved? That would be absolutely brilliant, wouldn't it? Particularly if we got it, you know. It is nice to have something to play for going into the last games this season, and that's absolutely brilliant. Tina Baker, you don't want more than 100. Your poor blood pressure. You did it last time, Tina. No, I know, but yeah, you have to tell me to calm down. I know my blood pressure. I'm all right. I'm okay. I'm a fit guy. I'm not. I'm not worried about blood pressure. Lee Harvey saying can be done. I'm keeping the faith. I am as well. Definitely, I'm going to keep the faith. Uh, my with Blues, my glass is always half full. You know, there's not. I don't. I never go into a game thinking we're going to lose, and that's the truth. Tina's saying that would be an exciting, nervous start. Jesus, it was. I mean, last night I was nervous. I mean, how did everyone feel going into the last 10 minutes last night? I was absolutely crapping it because you can just think to yourself, oh, Jesus, you know what's going to happen now, and then, oh, the whole world's ending, you know. But we defended well, and I'm so glad that Jack Robinson's got back into that team. Dan Garvey's saying home games: Sheffield United, Blackburn, Wrexham, Preston, and Bristol City. Yeah, I agree with you. I think all those games are winnable. Doesn't mean we have to win them all, but if we do win them all, that's 18 points. So if we won all of those games now, That's going to give us 70 points in it. We got 52. 52 and 18 is 70. We would only have to take 2 away points from the ones that we just said a few minutes ago, which was Hull and Ipswich and Derby and Portsmouth. I think that's the ones. Let's have a little look. Yeah, we got Derby, Ipswich, Hull and Portsmouth. If we could get if we win our home games and we get 2 points from those 4, we're in the playoffs. I get it. Look how long my arms look. Dan Garvey, 15. Oh right, what did I say? 18. Oh, did I say it was 6? Yeah, 1. Yeah, I took Sheffield and United as 2 teams. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 15. 15. And if we get another 7, that's 21. That'll give us 63. 73, that would get us in the playoffs, definitely. And then we could, yeah, it does look hard, doesn't it, when you think about it? But anyway, only time will tell. Sheffield United on Saturday is not going to be an easy game. We've played them a few times already this season, twice, haven't we? Gustavo Hamer is such a talent, but I'm hoping that John Solis puts the hammer on him if he plays. If not Solis, if Hamer plays, they are a good team. And but that manager Chris Wilder, I just can't stand him. He does my head in. You know, he's such a you know. I don't know what your thoughts are of him. Bex is saying Charlton women lost. They didn't they? That's absolutely brilliant, Beck, isn't it? A 27-game unbeaten run has ended. That is quite an incredible run for the WSL2. It is, but more importantly, it gets them a bit closer to us, doesn't it? Or it gets us a bit closer to them. The running for the WSL2 is going to be really good. And don't forget, we got Man City ladies at St Andrews. It's at Easter, isn't it, Beck? I think that's going to be brilliant. Dave Pig, can we get Ethan on to do the maths? Yeah, which one? I wouldn't be asking Ethan Laird. He'd just laugh, wouldn't he? Yeah. So yeah, we got to get Ethan onto our show on Sunday. Either of them. Lee Harvey agrees. Steve, I hate him as well. Yeah, he's like some. I don't know what it is, Lee, but you know, he's one of them, isn't he? You know what I mean. Yeah. Good old Ethan, eh? Well, we're on the hour. Let's see how many we've got 85 comments. You can quickly put 15 on if you want. I think we sort of milked it today. But you'll be delighted to know I'll be doing a pre-match preview of the Sheffield United game tomorrow. That's going to be a bit later because Friday is my late day. So, what time's it going to be? 12:45, 12:15. I might get it. I might be able to get it for 12:30. But I'll put it on in the morning and let you know what time that's going to be. So we're going to be talking about the Sheffield United game. See if we can get Ethan on to give us a load of statistics about our opposition. Wouldn't it be good if we could get him to do a little like weekly analysis of our opposition? It would be brilliant, wouldn't it? I'd love that. Lee, that can be classmate laid on the show. We have us all in stitches. That'd be classmate. Yeah, it'd be brilliant, wouldn't it? Laird. But I think we're talking more about Ethan, the commentator. Yeah, it was funny actually because Mark Halsey said to me, what's happened to your commentators on the Blues? Because he must have put it on after. He listened to it on the Blues feed, and he must have put it on after we told everyone. The commentator told them who Ethan was, and and he thought it was just like another commentator. He's going like, "Who's that commentator?" You know, it's like a bit different. I said, "No," I explained it to him. Yeah, I know what you meant, Lee. I know you meant Ethan Laird, but I'd like to get both of them on. That'd be good, wouldn't it? But anyway, guys, it's been a nice, interesting 1 hour and 5 minutes. Thank you all for joining me today. I've had a great time. I love it when we've got that little bit of togetherness back again and everyone is positive and we're going into the next game, you know, looking up and not looking over our shoulders. So let's keep it positive. You know, thank you all so much for your support of the group. Really appreciate it. Paz is on giving us the old SOTV. You can always rely on Paz to give us an SOTV, can't you, Paz? Hope you enjoyed it last night, Paz. I think I said a comment of yours. Actually, Paz predicted 3-0 yesterday, if I remember rightly. But didn't get it right. But you got the nil right, and we won. So yeah, thank you everyone for taking the time to come and speak to me today and making my day a little bit happier. Yeah, absolutely fantastic. So we'll give it a little bit of. I always get the wrong arm. Look, there we go. There's the KRO. There's the badge. Boom. And I've got the words to keep right on written all over me. There's some there. Look, there's some there somewhere. I've got little lines of keep right on written all over my body. Andrew, see you, mate. Lee, thank you so much, mate. Come on, you Blue Boys, Saturday, come on. And we'll speak to you tomorrow, guys. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. See you, Tina. Thank you for your support, guys. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.